Wasn't there recorded instances of JFK? Didn't he have a doctor that would prescribe some sort of amphetamines to him as well?
JFK is a very interesting case. He had chronic pain, and there is reports that he used also methamphetamine. Also, he had depression. So he had a kind of a Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
And one time I found a connection, but I don't really, I couldn't research more about it, that this Dr. Feelgood of JFK actually had studied what Morell had given to Hitler. But it's, you probably don't even need to study Morell. It kind of, that's what's out there. So JFK, I think, received quite a lot of medications. That's why it's interesting. What I wrote about in Tripped is his possible LSD experience. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, you talked about that with Jesse Waters.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's only one source for it, and we always have to be skeptical if there's only one source. If there's two sources, it's always much better. But one source, and it's actually Timothy Leary's autobiography. He describes, and I don't think he made this up. I have no reason to believe that he made this up. He describes how a woman called Mary Pinchot visits him at Harvard, telling him, because he was known as he was still employed by Harvard. He was, the LSD guy, basically. If you wanted to know about LSD, you would ask Leary. He had done the most research. And also some of the research is very good. It's very interesting. So she went to him. She was like a socialite in Washington, Mary Pinchot. She had been married to a CIA guy, but they had been divorced. She was probably too, quote unquote, left for him. She was more like a peace person, I guess. And she was also a very good friend of JFK. They were rumored to be lovers. She was in the White House a lot. He took her to functions. Like, she was a part of his life. And she visited Leary, saying to Leary, I have a very powerful friend. This was in April 1963. And I want to, do the experience with him. And Leary was all, he kind of was probably thinking this is JFK, but she didn't disclose it. She didn't disclose who this powerful friend was. And Leary said, yeah, I'm going to come with you. We're going to do it together. And she said, no, just give it to me. I want the stuff, the LSD, and I want to kind of get some guidelines from you. How do you do like a LSD session? So they had this, Leary told her a bit about what he thinks, how it should be done, set and setting. JFK shouldn't do it while he's like doing a press conference. He should do it when there's maybe he doesn't have to go on camera anymore that day. Maybe it's in the evening, in the White House. So she takes the LSD, and then there's no record that they actually took it together because there's just no record. There's her diary, but we'll come to her diary in a second. What happened was, a little bit later, and you can pull that up on YouTube, you can see that it's quite interesting. Kennedy gave his so-called peace speech at the American University, which is, I think, in Washington. Well, maybe not, but is in Washington. Yeah. And in this peace speech, it's kind of funny, actually, to see him, because we have to understand that JFK was quite a hawk. Like, he was really a Cold War guy. Like, he was a Democrat. Like, the Democrats, they're all for war, They like, it's confrontation. We have to be safe. We have to protect the country. We're serious, arms race. That was his thing. He was not different than other presidents. But in this peace speech that he gave a few weeks after Mary Pinchot received the LSD from Leary, he has a completely different agenda, and he sounds like basically like a hippie. He says like, yeah, like very presidential, giving a speech for all these students, and like nice day in America, and he gives presidents coming, give a speech, and he talks about we all live on this planet together, even the Russians, we all care for our children, and we're all we're all in this together, and he basically shifts course. Like he says that this arms race is kind of ridiculous. It just burns resources, and we must come to a different understanding. And then he gets killed like a few months later. So that is just those are the facts, and I think I'll leave it at the facts. So, fact also is that Mary Pinchot was shot in the head a few weeks or months after the assassination of JFK. And that day of her death, she was jogging in Washington, close to her apartment. There was a breaking into her apartment, and her diary was taken. So maybe that's the source actually that links JFK to LSD, and maybe JFK was eventually killed because he took LSD and changed his mind. But maybe
there's a lot of factors why he was killed, right?
Obviously. I mean, it's kind of a mystery why he was killed. Why does he need to be killed? But maybe that change of mind, becoming like saying like arms race must stop, which pisses off a lot of people in the military industrial complex who are like base their whole thing on the arms race. Maybe that becomes a very big threat and he must be eliminated. Who knows? But maybe it was he had a change of mind for sure. Maybe because of LSD, maybe because of the love making with Mary Pinchot, or maybe they were just smoking joints. They were seen. There are sources for that they had smoked joints in the White House before, but I don't know if cannabis would kind of bring about this change of mind. But LSD certainly could, because the default mode network, which is Cold War, arms race, suddenly gets a little less energy. Other parts of the brain is like, maybe we should do it differently.
And also the realization that if anybody can change things, he literally has a responsibility to express himself in that way.
Absolutely.
If he really is a leader.
Yeah.